Okay, here we go. Okay, I am live. Awesome. So, hello, beautiful people. Dr. Karen Moore here. I am the founder of the Color of Beautiful Media and Entertainment Group, and I am the Color of Beautiful Global. And I wanted to just share a couple of things with you. I just came back this weekend from Duluth, Georgia. I went to the Marketplace Mandate Academy live event with Dr. Darius Daniels, and it was amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Dr. Darius is amazing. The staff is amazing. All the speakers were amazing. It was really, really, really an amazing event. And so I had my sister went with me. We had a great time. We had a lot of good food, fellowship, fun, and a lot of information about moving forward in building our businesses. And I took a lot of notes and I got a lot of information. And so the key point for me was execute now. So that's what I'm doing. I'm executing now. And so we've been given a challenge to go live for 30 days. Pray for me. To go live for 30 days. So this is day 1 of my going live for 30 days. And I am excited about it. I'm really excited about it because I do have a lot to say. I do have a lot to say. And the trip was amazing. The people were amazing. And it just was just a great experience. And so, one of the things I want to talk about, though, is on a very personal note, my mobility getting around has decreased tremendously. I need knee replacement, one knee, but this my left knee they say needs to be replaced, but my right knee is the knee that's giving me all the pain, the pain, more pain. Let me put it that way, pain, more pain than the left knee. And so since my mobility is so decreased, I have to get wheelchair assistance at the airport, and it's very humbling, mind you, but let me just say this. But you need assistance, you need assistance. You have to ask for help when you need help, right? And so one of the things that I've realized is getting through Philadelphia International Airport would have been very difficult. Getting through Atlanta International Airport would have been impossible. I would not have been able to do it. About this time last year, or a little earlier, this time last year, my sister and I were walking like 10 to 12 miles a week. Now I can do about maybe 2 blocks, and that's a push. So my iPhone let me know that my walking mobility was decreasing. It came up, a message came up on my iPhone one day that said, your walking mobility is low and you have the potential to fall in 12 months. I was like, seriously? Seriously. But I am having issues with mobility. And so I'm scheduled for knee replacement in March, which I really don't want the surgery, but I also don't want to be in a wheelchair to have to get around. If I need to get around, other than like going to the grocery store, if I want to be able to really get around, like go through an airport or do anything like that, I need my knees to be better. So one of the speakers, though, at the event was Coach Rowe, who's a health fitness expert. And so many of the things she said really, really resonated with me and what I need to do in regard to my health. And so, here at The Color of Beautiful, we talk a lot about self care and self-empower. We talk about empowerment and self-love. And one of the things that I think sometimes we forget as women is that self-care also includes our physical bodies. It's not just mental and emotional and spiritual self-care. It's also physical self-care that includes our bodies. And one of the things that was really great being in Duluth is people were really helpful, and they were very mindful, I believe, of of me having some limitations. The team at Change Church and at the live event was just amazing. The morning service was absolutely amazing. Dr. Darius talked about arresting, oh my gosh, it's an A word, arresting arresting anxiousness, which is right on time for everything that I know I've been going through and the things that have been happening in my life. Arresting anxiousness was really an on time message. It was an on time message for me. And many times, anxiousness, talking about being anxious about things that probably won't even happen or may not happen. And so we can find ourselves doing that a lot, being anxious for things that may not even happen. But we've kind of conjured up in our minds what could possibly happen. And I know I wouldn't call it so much anxiousness as it is a fear. I have a fear of falling, because if I fall down, I'm like, I will not be able to get up without a lot of assistance. So many times I have a fear of falling. And so that dictates a lot of times how I navigate through different spaces. And so being in Duluth in Georgia was really sort of another kind of experience, in that people were really, I said to my sister commented that people were very different in Georgia. And I said, well, you're in the South now, you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy, right? Because people were primarily very friendly and very, there's that Southern hospitality that still exists for a certain segment of the population. Right, excuse me. So, when we went to McDonald's, we went to get some breakfast at McDonald's because our flight got in very early. And so when we went to McDonald's, the young lady that served us said thank you with a smile and have a nice day. And my sister looked at me and said, did she just smile and say thank you, have a nice, because that doesn't happen in Philly. Okay, unless you go into a different McDonald's than I have, which I don't go to McDonald's very often, but that doesn't happen in Philly. So then we went to the Dollar General, and she was looking for something specific, and the young man took her to the aisle where it was and helped her get what she needed. And she's like, at Dollar General. She was like, this happened at Dollar General. And then the last thing was, she had to go get gas. So we went to get gas. And she said the door was closing on her. And this man, she said, just kind of like leaped into action to stop the door from closing on her. And she came back to the car and she's like, we're moving. We are moving. Because it was really great to have that kind of experience. And, it was really just an incredible, incredible weekend. And, sometimes you just want to stay in the moment. A lot of times you go somewhere and you have a different experience and you just want to stay in the moment. You don't want that particular moment or that experience to end. And that's a lot of how it was. So let me get back to the self-care part. So Coach Rowe was talking about health and weight and all that kind of thing. And one of the things I realized, and I have realized for many months, for one thing, because my mobility has severely decreased, I have not been able to exercise, but I was continuing to eat. And I can be an emotional eater. So a lot of times when I was feeling a certain way about not being able to get out and walk, I really loved the walks that my sister and I would take together. We would have the opportunity to really connect and talk about some different things on our 2 or 3 mile walks. And I haven't been able to do that. So there's a part of me that actually was a little depressed about that. And because I am an emotional eater, chocolate makes me feel so much better. And so I really got into continuing bad eating habits and not being able to exercise. So now I've gained a lot of weight. So I've got to come off the weight. I have to come off the weight. And so one of the things I shared with a dear friend of mine is that I spent a lot of time taking care of other people. And I realized that I really neglected taking care of myself. So now is my time. Now is my time to focus on getting healthy, and taking care of Karen. So my sister and I enrolled in this 90-day program that Coach Rowe has, and we're going to get meal plan and all of that, and I'm going to come off this weight. So the thing that I want to say, I'll set all of this to say, there comes a point at which you have to choose you. You have to choose joy, and you have to choose you, and understand that your happiness and your well-being is in your hands. It's in God's hands, but it's also in your hands. And I always like to say that, God has a divine order to things, and that you can't, people get a lot into what you confess and what you say out of your mouth, but you can't say, I'm not going to get lung cancer and you're smoking cigarettes. It just doesn't work. I'm not saying that you will get lung cancer, but you have a higher probability of having lung cancer if you smoke. And you can't say, well, I don't believe, I'm rebuking that. Well, you can do all the rebuking you want to do, but there's a divine order to things. And we have to take care of the bodies that God has given us. I haven't been taking care of mine. And so now I have to make an intentional decision of what I'm going to do. And your happiness and your well being is outside of what God does for us, it's also in our hands. There's a certain responsibility that we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and that we are looking to Him and to our internal selves for our happiness. You can't look for people to make you happy. You can't look for circumstances, conditions, things to make you happy. You have to decide that I am going to take the necessary steps to be well myself and to be happy. Be happy with the woman that you are or man that you are, and be happy with the woman or man that you're becoming. That's where your happiness really has to lie. It's on you, and you're not responsible for anyone else's happiness. Now, you can contribute or you could be a hindrance, okay, but you can contribute to someone else's happiness, but you aren't responsible for their happiness. No one is responsible for my happiness but me. And so I work hard for my mental and emotional and spiritual health to make sure that Karen is happy for Karen and with Karen. And those things that I'm not happy with, like how I've been treating my physical body, not happy with that. So now I have to do something to change it. And I am embarking on this journey of changing my physical health so that I can be well. And if I have to have this surgery, which is not what I want, but if that's what I have to be able to get me mobile again, then that's what I have to do. But I want to make sure that I'm at optimal health before I go on that table. And, I just want to be optimal health. So it's my responsibility now to take care of myself. Nobody else can do this for me. As much as people want to help me, they can possibly encourage and help me, but I've got to make it my priority that I am going to be the best that I can be, the healthiest that I can possibly be as I move forward. So I'd love for you to share with me what you're looking at for yourself about what you need to change in your life to have that joy and that peace and that happiness for yourself. And it's coming from God and it's coming from within yourself. You're not looking for anybody else to do that for you. And you're only, sometimes too, you've got to set boundaries in the sense that those people who aren't contributing, you may have to, kind of back off a little bit from them if they are not contributing to your happiness. That's easier said than done. I get it. I really do get it. But at the same time, you've got to set up those boundaries. One of the things I can say that I am pretty much very good with boundaries as far as my mental and emotional state. I will tell people in a heartbeat, I do not have the mental or emotional capacity for that right now or ever. Sometimes it might just be a right now. Sometimes I don't have the mental or emotional capacity for that ever. So I can't do that. And that's what you've got to begin to do, set boundaries as to what you can do and what you can't do. And you can't feel bad about what you can't do. I just can't. I just can't do that. I found myself doing that with around this last 2 weeks of the election. I disconnected from everything because it was just too much. It was just too much. I could not mentally. I found myself getting depressed. I found myself just so bothered and angry. And so I had to disconnect. So sometimes you have to do that. And you have to know what capacity you can hold for whatever it is that's going on in your life. And those things where it's just too much, it's just too much. Listen, I can't do it. So I would love for you to share with me what what area of your life you feel like you want to look at and address and decide that there's something there that needs to change to contribute to your happiness so that you can be intentional about your happiness. And I would love for you to join me. I'm going to post on all the different platforms about our virtual open house for the Color of Beautiful. We have a beautiful virtual space, and I'd love for you to join me Thursday at 7 p.m. for our virtual open house so that you can see what I'm calling the Color of Beautiful Studios. And I look forward, I can't wait till I can have a building and have all of the studios somewhere for in-person gatherings. But in the meantime, we have a beautiful virtual space. And I would love for you to come and connect with me on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So guys, be blessed and tap into that joy and that happiness that is inside of you, and be intentional about stirring it up and just letting that joy and that peace be part of your everyday life so that you can be happy like a room. I'm sorry, I'm not going there. Okay. Thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Be blessed.